Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is RJ. So the Townstar competition is over. We're going to be checking out how we did, what I did wrong, what you can do better, and I've got some great resources for you as well, so keep watching. Okay, and welcome to another video. And remember, if this is your first time visiting my channel and you want to learn more about how to earn cryptocurrency for free, about cloud mining sites, crypto investments, and lots of other crypto related stuff, hit that subscribe button and don't forget to tag that notification bell so you're alerted to all my latest content as it comes online. Okay, so welcome to Gala Games. This is my account and this is where we play Townstar. Now obviously over the last two videos, this is going to be the sort of final one in that series. In those last two videos we looked at my progression through the competition, any hints and tips I could give you through those videos as I was sort of working it out for myself, because you got to remember the last time I played this, I did mention this in the first video, was actually 2019, when the game itself was very much in beta stage. Even though they still class it as beta stage, it was even more so back then. And I got slightly disillusioned with it, basically because they kept promising all these prizes and we just weren't receiving them, because you know they were still trying to work out bugs and you know help with our help as users develop their platform. Anyway, I walked away from it for quite some time, but now we're back because they are actually delivering on their promises, giving out those prizes during the competitions and stuff like that, and some of these prizes are equating to some large numbers, such as first prize, just for instance, in the competition, this competition was 130,000 Gala. Now, although Gala is still less than 1 cent, at 130,000, that is still going to equate to quite a lot. And even the lowest possible price, which was you had to be within the top 100. So from 100 up to 50th place, you still got 800 Gala. Now the competition is pretty stiff with this game, especially since the first time I played it. There's a lot more people out there. There's now a lot more people that have got experience, know more what they're doing, probably get into the competition, and they are relatively up and running pretty fast, earning that those star points which move you up the league or the competition table. And then obviously at the end of the competition, everybody hopes they're in that top 100. But anyway, let's quickly take a look. So with 8 hours to go, because unfortunately the way this competition works, it starts here in the UK at a very late time in the afternoon. So on the first day, I don't have a whole lot of time to really get it up and running and start earning those dollars for purchasing things in the game, but also as well those star points for moving me up the competition table. But then it also ends at like 4 a.m. So basically with 8 hours to go, I went to sleep, and at that point I was at place 694 out of nearly 3,000. In the end, there was ended up to something like 2,850 people, which suggests to me that those people that do really know what they're doing are not actually entering the competition until quite late down the line. So they might only be playing it for, say, out of 5 days, they might only play it for 3, or they might only play it for 2, depending on how well they've got their strategy sorted out, and also as well how, you know, how many NFTs they might have that help them out in the game. Because the other cool thing with this, with Gala Games and Townstar, is that you can get NFTs, which is non-fungible tokens. That's what NFT stands for. But when it comes to Townstar and the other games they're looking to develop, those NFTs are actually usable items within the game. So they can be silos, they can be buildings, they can be stands for your marketplace, they can be no end of things. And the other cool thing is, when you're all done and dusted, if you have some NFTs, especially if some really rare sought after NFTs, you can just sell them back. You can just sell them, by which time they might well have increased in price as well. So you could just purely make a profit off those NFTs. So like I say, this is where we finished. I ended up with 141,310 star points, as you can see there. I did make numerous mistakes, absolute numerous mistakes. If we look here, unfortunately, like an idiot, I forgot to take a screenshot of what my town actually ended up looking like in the end, just before basically I shut it all down. As you can see here, this was what it looked like with 2 days left. We only had 60,000 star points at that time, but I can still talk you through sort of, you know, what I did wrong when we're looking at, say, the farm and the bakery, even things like farming, stuff like that. So that we're going to look at that. But first off, like I said, we're going to go through the points I made at the end of the last video. So the first thing, if you're going to get into playing this game, and especially if you want to get into the competition, the first thing you've got to think about is, what do I want my final product to be? Now, I've chosen my final product using a bakery to be baguettes. The reason for that is that 10 baguettes, which is how many you sell at a time, is worth $291,000 or in-game dollars. But that also gave you 1,492 star points. That was sort of my aim, but the big problem was even though I was next to a body of water, as I explained in the second video, it's not salt water. So you need salt or brine to then create processed salt, which you need for the making of butter, which is one of the main ingredients in dough. So basically I had to scatter these brine fields or salt fields all around. But the thing is when you're not next to salt water or to an ocean, they will take, I think it's 10 minutes to produce brine. So that's 10 minutes each field will take. But obviously if you plant them all at one time, if you know, within a few seconds they're all going to be blooming at the same time. I didn't do that because I didn't realize, but also as well is that once they have all bloomed and all the brine has been collected, obviously, you know, the mills are going to turn that into processed salt, and then you've still got to wait another 10 minutes before that brine is available again. So sometimes it actually pays if they are slightly staggered, because essentially you're sort of feeding brine into the system pretty much ongoing, because they keep blooming at different points. Obviously you don't want to put one down and then wait for 5 minutes, then put another one down. But, you know, don't necessarily lay them all down if you're going to do this. But also as well, like I said and just mentioned now, if you are going to be looking to use the bakery as your final product builder, in the sense of, like I say, as making baguettes, let's say, you want to make sure that you're next to an ocean, because that is salt water. So instead of having 20 of these salt fields, you might only need 3, which is then producing enough salt to give you as much processed salt for your butter as possible. Because also the other thing is that, unfortunately, what I can't show you here is what I ended up having to do is, if you remember in the second video, I said that I'd got rid of my lumber mill. I had to bring that back. I'll explain why. Also, as well, I got rid of my second refinery. I had to bring that back, and I in fact ended up having a third refinery purely because I brought the refineries back. The reason for bringing the refineries back was to produce more petroleum, which I could turn into jet fuel, essentially, because 10 jet fuel gave you the same amount of star points as 10 sugar. So we were making loads of sugar. We were cashing that in for $31,000, but it gave us 16. Oh no, that's right. Yeah, so sugar gave us 16 star points towards our league table. Jet fuel gave 18 star points towards our league table. And the reason why I was having to do that is basically because while I was waiting for my bakeries to produce their goods, I was gradually slipping back down that leaderboard. So to retain, just to retain that position, I was having to sell sugar, I was having to sell jet fuel just to maintain myself at that position, at around about the 700. I mean, on the last day I did get it a lot more sorted. So basically what we ended up with was, and the reason why I had to bring the lumber mill back was because I got rid of this farmhouse here, got rid of him, and I actually purchased another bakery which I put there. And then I had, rather than having one bakery making butter and one bakery making dough, which I was then trying to switch to baguettes, what I realized is that I basically ended up having to give up on the baguettes, unfortunately. So what I ended up doing was I had two bakeries producing butter, because that was the key, really, and that is why you need salt fields. You need plenty of butter. So I had two producing butter, and then this one here, the extra one that I had, what I was doing with that was I was just producing dough. So, and that required one butter, but because I was producing so much butter, I could then produce a lot of dough. But trying to produce a lot of dough, then turn that into baguettes, it didn't work. I even went as far as having 4 bakeries, of trying to have 2 produce butter, 1 produce dough, and 1 produce baguettes. It just did not work because of the weighting on the salt. And basically these couldn't, even 2 of them could not produce enough butter, because obviously we were having to wait for the milk as well, which is also a ingredient into butter, and it was just too long. And so basically, again, even though I was making dough fast, I couldn't make baguettes fast enough, and again I was just starting to slip down the leaderboard. So in the situation we were in, the best I could do was produce lots of butter, produce lots of dough, and then sell that dough. And the dough itself still gave us, as I said, that still gave us 291,000. Baguettes would have 291,000 in-game dollars. Baguettes would have given us nearly 1 million in-game dollars. And unfortunately, the difference between the star points is dough only gave us 270 star points, and like I said, the baguettes gave us 1,492. Anyway, the other thing I did when it came to the farm, in this picture it shows, and I talked about why I moved my chicken coop here, basically because the chicken kept stealing all the feed and the cows weren't getting any. But by putting the chicken hut here, even though I could leave it running, it still didn't work out. So what I ended up doing was destroying that one, moving it back here, and then anytime I was running out of eggs, because producing eggs was so fast, what I did was I would build up a load of milk. So I'd build up maybe 5, 6 milk or whatever, and then I would just switch. I'd turn the chickens on. I would then build eggs up to about 15 or 20 eggs, and then just turn the chickens off again, and then just allow the cows to keep producing milk. And that seemed to work best. When, like I say, I wanted to move it here because I just wanted to leave it running all the time, so I didn't have to mess about with it, and it still did not work. So I moved it back there, and then I basically had to switch the chickens on and off whenever I needed eggs. So again, it worked, but it just wasn't the optimal way to do it at all. Okay, so if you're looking to, obviously, like I say, get into the game, the first thing you got to do is look at what you want to produce. Now, a really good resource is this guide. Now, what you can do is you can look up anything that you can produce. So as it says here, crafts. So this is anything we could produce. So like I said, look, baguettes. You start city points is what I keep referring to as star points. So that was 1,472. I think I said 1,492. Anyway, so that's what we would have got for baguettes, and that's what you would have got in cash. Although I think that because this is the same number that is shown on the other guide, and I think that in the development of Townstar they've added an extra 0. Because in the game you get 913,000 per 10 baguettes. Whereas obviously that says 91,300. So I just think they've added an extra 0 on the end of everything. So you just got to remember that. But the great thing is like I say, with this resource, you can come through here and you can go, right, okay, so the city points is really the thing you want to be looking at. But also as well, you can look down here and you can see what it requires. So with baguettes, you needed 2 dough, 2 butter, 2 wood. And like I say, with batter, blue steel. So blue steel is going to give you the highest amount. So that is going to give you 6,800 city points, or star points as I call them. Baguette is going to give you 1,472. And then as you scroll down, you can see cake. If you want to go along with cake, that's going to give you 4,475. But it will give you over 1 million. Cakes will give you over 1 million of in-game dollars. Now, that is fair enough. Obviously, you're going to need a lot of in-game dollars to be building your town. But once you get to a certain point, you don't need that much money. I mean, really, you don't need it. I mean, I got to over 2 million, and I was just paying my workers because I'd stopped building and I was just focusing on basically making money, building star points. So really, if something is giving you more star points and a little bit less money, then personally, and it's easy, especially if it's easier to make, then I would say that is the way to go. Is go for something that obviously, again, this is going to give you 2,709,500, I'm guessing, because we're adding that extra 0. But yeah, so really what you want to do is obviously first, like I said, you've got to figure out what you want to make as an end product. Then what you want to be doing is after that, like I say, this is a great resource. You can look at everything that you can make, how much it will cost you in the way of what it's required, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, once you've decided that, what you next want to do is you've got to figure out, right, okay, so I want to be, if we're going to make baguettes, I want to be by an ocean because I need plenty of salt. But also as well, what you might want to look at is that other things that you're going to need to build up. So if you could be by an ocean, but also as well maybe in a forest, because you need loads of wood for building your mills, for building your bakeries, all that kind of stuff. So what you can do is obviously you can go to the gas map. Now this is brilliant. What I'll do is I'll zoom down for you. And what this does, this gives you a map of the entire world, like our world, because that's the world that Townstar use. But you see these numbers where it says 2, 3, 1, 1. That represents in that area how much fuel it's going to cost you to send your items off to market, or wherever they go, to the wholesalers to be sold to make your money. So obviously the different colours represent, whether it's yellow's going to represent like a desert, green is going to represent obviously a forest or plains, and then you've got these brown patches which I believe are the mountains, and then obviously you've got all the white stuff at the top which represents snow. But I think this is great because I would say print it out, but the person that's done this, the map is that you probably need maybe maybe 6 A4 sheets of paper, possibly more than that, to print this out as a whole, to stick it on your wall if that was something you were thinking of doing. But yeah, it is a really big map. It is a really big map, but like I say, it does give you all the good areas. So like, say for instance, if you wanted to be next to a sea, but you wanted to also be near a forest for the wood, then you see there's lots of places around Florida area which you can be right on the coast. It is green, so that represents either plains or forestry, and you know, right the way up here. But then if you want to be, say you're doing something else, I don't know really what, but if you thought to yourself, right, well, what I want to do is I want to be near a coast, but I want to be near a desert, or near, yeah, so you could go to the top of Africa, and you've got obviously the coastal line here, and again, all in this area, this sort of triangle-y area there, that's only going to cost you one lot of fuel to send your goods. Whereas if you just go this bit over, that then is all 2. Even up here where you're on the coast, that is still going to cost you 2 lots of fuel. And obviously the more you go over here, that's in the 3s, this is in the 4s. And like I say, this is a really good resource. This site is brilliant if you want to sort of start working things out like that to improve your strategy. So like I say, I did put this in the description of the first couple of videos. I will put that in the description of this video also. I'll also put this one in there, which gives very similar information. And then the other thing that I have to show you, so this is another great resource that I came across looking around on the net. It's absolutely brilliant, especially for those of you that want to actually plan out your strategies. And now the great thing is you can flick through these different categories. So you've got the farms icons, you've got for the ranch, you've got the terrain, you've got the industrial, you've also got the trade. And for those of you that have been involved with Gala games for quite some time, and you have actually gained yourself some NFTs, you have got those icons here as well. So everything is included. You can even pick the different terrains. You can pick the different areas of the map, so whether you're north, south, east or west. And if you use the zoom, just drop down to 90%. It will show you here, so you can, whatever you do, you can copy. You can even load in ones that you've done in the past, and then you can clear the board as well and start again. So just as for instance, so this is like for those of you that, and for myself in this competition, we used the forestry area, which is what we're looking at here, northern forestry area, that is. And say, for instance, that we decided we wanted to put a windmill somewhere. Now, the cool thing with this is, let's put a windmill here. Now, it gives you that that is a good area, because as long as these are in the green, you see the highlighted box, that's showing that that's green. So that's optimal position for your windmill. If we put one here, is put a red circle around it, and it's showing that it's going to take 60 seconds. So instead of taking 30 seconds, it's going to take a minute. Now, if you think, oh, okay, right, well, I'm not going to put one there, and you want to remove it, what you do is you click on the bomb icon like that, and then just click on that, and it just removes it. Be careful though, because it will remove everything. I accidentally removed a rock, and obviously rocks are not in the icons to be listed. So, I mean, I could have pressed clear and it would have just obviously reverted that back. But yeah, so it is dead simple. And like I say, the information it gives you, so like if you pick a refinery and say you're going to put a water pump somewhere, and then you can figure out, is that going to be the optimal position for my power station, you know, because it will give you that information. Same with your ranch, anything like you can litter them around, and you can look at those numbers to make sure, like even if you get a block of you're going to plant yourself a forest, or what is it, a tree farm, I could put it there and that will say, that says 40 seconds. But if I put it, say, next to a silo, that's going to say 320, because as we know, putting crops next to buildings slows down the process of their growing. So like I say, this is a great little tool. Play around with it, get your strategies sorted, then go and try it out in the free server. Once you've got it down and you know exactly what you're doing, go into the competition, get yourself some free crypto. So basically, just quickly getting back to this, the biggest problem I found right near the end was trying to control my crops. So at 1 minute I would have, you know, like 50 bags of flour, which was filling up my silos. So I was having to quickly sell all that to make space for other stuff. So what I would do there, is I would then say remove one of the wheat fields. So obviously producing less wheat, they're producing less flour. And then I would sort of sit and watch it, and I would still see my wheat going up. So you go, okay, right, so I'll remove another wheat field. And then you do that, and then all of a sudden your wheat is rapidly going down. You're like, hang on, I've only removed one field. So then what I realized was that these are trees here, but I ended up with 2 wheat fields here, because I was trying to produce as much flour as possible, because to make dough you need 5 bags of flour. So anyway, what I realized was these fields were making wheat every 30 seconds, whereas these ones were removing were making every 2 minutes. So at first what I did was, I know I pointed to those ones, but at first what I did was I removed these ones. And that's what the problem was I removed the fastest growing ones. So then my farmers had to wait 2 minutes per field to get any wheat off. So what I did was I think I removed, instead of just 2, I removed 3 of these here, which were taking 2 minutes each, and then just left those 2 there that were producing the wheat every 30 seconds. And basically that then sort of started balancing out. And then I ended up near the end, I think I ended up getting rid of I did start getting rid of tree farms, because I was producing so much wood, and basically because I'd got all my buildings already built and all that kind of stuff. I didn't need it, so I started getting rid of my wheat fields. I was replacing some of those with more salt patches to give me more salt brine to produce more salt for the butter. And it was such a juggling act. I mean, it was great fun. The only thing that I found disappointing was that I didn't work it out until the very last day, basically, which is obviously very disappointing. But also as well, because of the timings, obviously because they're on a they're on a different time zone than where I am, is that I missed out so many. I hardly got any hours of gameplay at the beginning, and then I missed out 8 hours at the end because there was no point in me leaving it running through the night, because 8 hours, by the time I woke up, obviously the competition was going to be over, and there's no way I was just going to sit up for 8 hours to keep sort of selling my goods and move me up the ladder. I think I probably could have got to maybe into the 500s had I done that last 8 hours, because I had finally got things sorted, even though, like I mentioned, it wasn't as good as I wanted it to be, but I definitely got them a lot more sorted than they were part way through, well, at the beginning and part way through. But like I say, the aim was the top 100. If I was at, like, say, 150th, I might well have sat up for that 8 hours knowing I could have got into that top 100. But we were so far away, it just was not worth it. So I will be doing other videos on Townstar, but not in a series like this. It will just be sort of updates and sharing you my experience and how I've done in those up and coming competitions. But if you are interested in that earlier video that I talked about, it's probably on your screen right now. So get clicking and get watching. If you could smash that like button, really supports my channel, which then helps me bring more content to you. So take care, have a great rest of your week, and I'll speak to you soon. Thanks a lot. Bye.